Everybody living good. Everybody eating good. Everybody chilling. I want all my people around me. Everybody eating good. Everybody living good. I want for my brother what I want for myself.
Sun is shining. The air is clear. My folks are smiling. No need for fear. The kids are learning what they should learn. Finally, folks are earning what they should earn.
I want all my people around me. Everybody living good. Everybody eating good. Everybody chilling. I want all my people around me. Everybody eating good. Everybody living good. One for my brother, one for myself. If there's enough for one, there's enough for two. It starts with me and it starts with you. It's complicated, but it's simple too. Just like patience, sharing is a virtue. Show folks where you stand. Lend a hand when you can to your fellow man. Hold the plan for the day when you can't work the way you used to. I want all my people around me. Everybody living good. Everybody eating good. Everybody chilling. I want all my people around me. Everybody eating good. Everybody living good. One for my brother, one I want for myself. All my people, yeah. All my people. All my people, yeah. All my people, yeah. All my people, yeah. All my people. All my people. Oh, 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 oh. I want all my people around me. I want all my people around me. Everybody living good. Everybody's eating good. And everybody's I want all my people around me. Everybody living good. Everybody eating good. Everybody chilling. I want all my people around me. Everybody eating good. Everybody living good. One for my brother, one I want for myself. Moral of the story is, one for my brother, what I want for myself. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Come on. I want all my people around me. Everybody living good. Everybody eating good. Everybody chilling. I want all my people around me. Everybody eating good. Everybody living good. I want for my brother what I want for
Sun
myself.
is shining. The air is clear. My folks are smiling. No need for fear. The kids are learning what they should learn. Finally, folks are earning what they should earn.
I want all my people around me. Everybody living good. Everybody eating good. Everybody chilling. I want all my people around me. Everybody eating good. Everybody living good. One for my brother, one I want for myself. If there's enough for one, there's enough for two. It starts with me and it starts with you. It's complicated, but it's simple too. Just like patience, sharing is a virtue. Show folks where you stand. Lend a hand when you can to your fellow man. Hold the plan for the day when you can't work the way you used to. I want all my people around me. Everybody living good. Everybody eating good. Everybody chilling. I want all my people around me. Everybody eating good. Everybody eating good. One for my brother, one for myself. All my people, yeah. All my people. All my people, yeah. All my people, yeah. All my people, yeah. All my people. All my people. Oh, 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 oh. I want all my people around me. I want all my people around me. Everybody living good. Everybody's eating good. And everybody's. I want all my people around me. Everybody living good. Everybody eating good. Everybody chilling. I want all my people around me. Everybody eating good. Everybody eating good. One for my brother, one for myself.
What's up, guys and ladies? Welcome to Power Up Lunch and Learn. I'm Kerry Woods, and my co-host Harriet Hawkins with iGo1Realty.com is actually getting ready for 1 hour open house, so she's not here today. But we do have two special guests that's on their way that we're gonna be bringing in. So, how y'all bees? Who you smoke trees with? Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'd like to thank everybody for taking time out their busy day to join us on the Power Up Lunch and Learn Happy Hour. Got some good stuff we're gonna be covering today. And guys, I was talking earlier to the folks on Facebook. You can join us on Facebook if you like, or you can join us on listenvisionlive.com. We got some good stuff that we actually got coming. I want to bring in the financial guys, and I really want to get them in before the end of the year. So when you start making this money, because I know you guys will be making all this money at the end of this year, going into the next year, how to put that money, how to plan, and how to use that money. And one of the things I was that one of the guests, Kelly JV, wanted to talk about was owner financing, hard money, private money, and becoming a bank. And it's really, really simple. So what I do, I actually wholesale, and the wholesale deals in this area are pretty good. Actually, all over the country, they're pretty good. So what you do, you take that money, you just stack it up as you earn it, right? And since we're buying these properties at a discount anyway, so let's say the house is worth $100,000, and we actually buying these houses as wholesalers, investors, like about 65, 70%, sometimes lower of the after repair value. So that $100,000 house we might get for like $65,000. Let's say it needs about $15,000 worth of repairs. So we 65, 75. So we in at $80,000. We got $20,000 worth of equity in the house, right? So instead of wholesaling that property, you just say, okay, look, let me go ahead and do some wholesale deals. Build my cash reserve up. Now I got my cash reserve up. I got enough money where I can go get that $100,000 house for, $65 and pay cash for it. Now you pay cash for it. You put your 10 to 15 in. Now you own the house free and clear. It's yours. Now, most people would put a renter in that house and say, hey, you collect this money every month from some renters. It's totally different. Mine is totally different. I don't do rentals anymore. This is my whole thing right here, what I do. Once you own that house free and clear, instead of putting a rental in that house, sell that house at market value. So, what you in for, about $80,000 into a $100,000 house. So you got equity in the house. So what you do is sell it for market value. Sell it for $100,000, but you hold the note, right? So you find you some buyer tenants, maybe somebody with bad credit, because, bad things happen to good people. They might went through a divorce, bankruptcy or something. So they may have the money, they may have the good job, but they don't have the credit, right? So you find somebody with, that's looking for a house, good money, bad credit, or just somebody just want a house, got good credit and money. And you sell them the house with the owner finance instead of rent it. So what you do, you say, hey, look, $100,000 house, you own it, you in for 85. Bring me $10,000 down, and I hold a note for the other 90. That say 3 to 5% for the next 15 to 30 years. You determine you determine how you want to do that. Now, with the interest on top of what you're making, it's gonna be you'll make a lot more than if you just did a regular rental. And one thing you don't have to worry about also is the fact that, hey, these guys calling you come Thanksgiving and say, hey, my hot water heater don't work, or the roof is leaking, or the plumbing went out. You still the landlord, you would have to take care of that. But because they owning it, is theirs, they have to take care of that. And the people that's actually buying going to take better care of the house than renters because they know it's theirs. It's like today, you can't call the bank, even though you got to say, I own the house. You don't own your house. You got a note on it. Until you clear that note, you don't own it. They can always come and take it from you. So what happened, if your hot water heater went out today, you was purchasing a house, could you call the bank and say, hey, look, my hot water heater is out? They're going to laugh at you. They don't care. Like, hey, that's your problem. Hey, my roof leaking. That's your problem. You can call your insurance company, but don't call us. So that's one way to get the houses to cash flow. And what you do, you wash, rinse, and repeat. So once you got that one house, you do it over and over and over again. So if you got money sitting in a 401k, guys, if you got like hundreds of $1,000s, Baltimore is the best place. Everybody want to stay out of Baltimore. Now, Baltimore, the houses are inexpensive and people are living in. So you find you a nice little spot where, it don't have like a whole block boarded up, where actually people are doing rentals and people are actually want to live. And you go to those places. You take that money out there for a 401k. You go buy your house free and clear. Don't buy that market. Leave you some equity in it. And then you sell that house at market. You don't own the finance. Or you take that money out your 401k, what I love too, and you lend it to these investors. You lend it to an investor. You can either do private money or hard money. So hard money, let's say, for instance, you got $400,000 just sitting in a 401k or IRA. So you take that $400,000, and you might say, I might come to you and say, hey, I need that money. So I'll say, look, give me that $400,000, and I'll hold it for a year, and I'll give you 6% return on that money. So you give me that money. It's like, oh, 6%, that's great. Now I take that $400,000, and I lend it out to investors. So I'll take that $400,000, and I know I can lend it out to people buying $200,000 homes. So what I'll do, I'll take that $400,000, I'll lend it out to 2 people for 90 days at 12% each. In 90 days, I got a return. 12 and 12 is 24. Then 90 days later, I do it again, right? So I can do that 4 times a year at 12%. Then at the end of the year, I can give you back your 6%, 3%, whatever I told you. But that's how hard money works. But that hard money is coming from private money. It's coming from those guys that's got the money sitting in 401ks, money that's sitting in bank accounts and sitting in the IRAs, just sitting there making 1% a year or something like that at the most. So that's how hard money. So when you hear about hard money in real estate, it's just that the money that lenders won't lend. Traditional lenders won't lend on homes that need repairs. So if you got a house and you're doing real estate investing and the house need repairs, a traditional lender is not going to lend on it. If you don't have the money to purchase the home yourself, you would actually have to find a hard money lender or private money. Private money is just somebody that has the money that allow you to use their money. So hard money lenders, a lot of times getting their money from private money, and they just marking it up and giving it to you guys to do the repairs. But once you start making money, instead of having your money sitting in the bank, put your money to work. Just as hard as you work for that money, put that money to work for you. You become a hard money lender or a private money lender for these guys out here finding these deals. Once they find the deals, lend them the money. And they also got something that's really, really safe as far as lending your money. They got peer-to-peer lending. And I think I put the link with that online where you can lend out as little as $25 and get your return on that money, right? And it's guaranteed. Or what else I can say? You can lend that money out and get it good. So I forgot what else. I just lost thought, but guests are here. We're gonna go ahead and take a break. We're gonna get them all set up, and we'll be right back with you guys. Give me about a minute.
Everybody living good. Everybody eating good. Everybody chilling. I want all my people around me. Everybody eating good. Everybody living good. I want for my brother what I want for
Sun is
myself.
shining, the air is clear. My folks are smiling, no need for fear. The kids are learning what they should learn. Finally, folks are earning what they should earn.
I want all my people around me. Everybody living good. Everybody eating good. Everybody chilling. I want all my people around me. Everybody eating good. Everybody living good. One for my brother, one for myself. If there's enough for one, there's enough for two. It starts with me and it starts with you. It's complicated, but it's simple too. Just like patience, sharing is a virtue. Show folks where you stand. Lend a hand when you can to your fellow man. Hold the plan for the day when you can't work the way you used to. I want all my people around me. Everybody living good. Everybody eating good. Everybody chilling. I want all my people around me. Everybody eating good. Everybody living good. One for my brother, what I want for myself. All my people, yeah. All my people. All my people, yeah. All my people, yeah. All my people, yeah. All my people. All my people. Oh, 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 oh. I want all my people around me. I want all my people around me. Everybody living good. Everybody's eating good. And everybody's. I want all my people around me. Everybody living good. Everybody eating good.
Welcome back, guys. Thank you for joining. How your bees, who you smoke trees with. Hey, and to all the veterans, I'm sorry, I missed you guys earlier. To all the veterans and all of everybody that just signed up, been up, paved the way to every veteran. Thank you. Happy Veterans Day. We appreciate your service. Thank you so very much. And with me, guys, we got two special guests. I'm going to allow them to introduce themselves. And it's a pleasure and an honor for me to have, and you are...
I am Leanne Rodriguez.
And I am Fiona Struther.
Okay, cool. Tell me more about you.
What you want to know? Let's see. I am one of Carrie's networking partners.
Okay.
I'm a title officer with Pride Settlement and Escrow, licensed in Maryland, D.C., and Virginia. Been doing it almost 20 years. Technical difficulty. Just trying to break my phone.
I don't know how to make it stay.
Poor baby. There we go. Hi, live. And you are?
I am Fiona Struther. I am studying to be a settlement officer. I am also an author and learning every day.
Cool. Guys, Leanne and Fiona, they are actually one of the people I talk about, as being an investor, you got to have these people on your team. You need a real estate agent, you need a attorney, you need an appraiser, you need an inspector, you need a title company. So they all got one with the title company. So if you're actually out there doing business and you don't have a relationship with a title company, I'll have Leanne's information so you can hook up with her and develop that relationship because this is a relationship business, so you can go in. But Fiona, you said something about a book. You actually wrote a book?
I wrote a book.
Tell us about your book.
I wrote and published a book. It is called Out of Her Darkness. It is available at soulsoothingflow.com or Amazon. And it is a book about my life from the age of 5 to 25, the day I got married. And it centers around, I grew up with domestic violence in my house.
Okay.
And just how it changed me, shaped me, and formed me as a human being. And how I look at things now in life and how you can see things coming, because I'm also a survivor of domestic violence.
Wow, and we just lost one of our friends and colleagues to domestic violence, and it's terrible. So let's talk about that today. I mean,
That's good.
You know, ladies, if you in a relationship in the domestic violence, you have to get out. You know, it's no into that. You know, to Shania and her family, you know, our condolences and deep. You know, and it's sad. It's really sad. It's like I saw that on the news. I seen the helicopter. I seen this guy, but I had no idea who it was until I actually.
I saw it too.
I don't even want to.
It's rough. I too am a survivor.
Right.
3
That's
years
sad.
out is very sad. 3 years out, and for the longest time, I probably am more vocal about it now than I was before. But especially because there are so many women in our circle. There's so many real estate agents and lenders that I see on a daily basis that have shared their story. And I know that October is Domestic Violence Month, but like one of our colleagues said, who has a nonprofit for domestic violence, we have to talk about it every day. The young lady that we lost this past week, nobody would have been able to look at her and tell, you don't know what the face of a domestic violence survivor or victim looks like. You don't. Nobody would have known I was. Nobody.
So you say you grew up in that type of environment?
I did. And I grew up in the 70s, and I hate to say it, but it seems like it was kind of so accepted, you know, that that's how men would treat their wives. And it was really bad. It was a hard story for me to tell because
Hey. We're good.
it was a hard story for me to tell because I didn't realize how it affected me until I started writing that book, because it was just, you know, it was just how I was growing up. But it was really bad. My mom had to leave to save her life. She had to leave me and my sister to save her life.
Wow.
And it just, it to this day, the way to shut me down is to come at me very confrontationally, because it takes me back.
Well, because I know so much about Fiona's story, her looking at it from a child, watching your mother be abused, she can help me with my daughter. Because, you know, I was the victim in that, you know, the victim of physical abuse. Her mother was the victim of physical abuse. So she helps me to help my daughter. Now, my daughter did not necessarily see any of it, but the fact that it happened, I mean, the energy was still there.
Right.
You know?
And the thing is like, it sounds weird. We never saw it, but we would hear things breaking. I would hear my mother screaming, begging for my dad to stop.
Wow.
You know, and see the black eyes, and my mom trying to act as though everything was okay. And at 5 years old, you know, it's just, that's grown folks' business. They didn't say, well, it's your fault that I got hit or anything like that. That was between my mom and my dad. To this day, I can't sit here and tell you why any punch was thrown, because I don't know.
Well, there's no reason for punches. You know, violence never solves any, especially guys. I mean, we built way tougher than these guys. Especially, I see these athletes, all they do is train. They beating up on these women, really? That's nonsense. You know, how did you deal with yours? She wrote a book. How did you deal with yours?
I think the way that God intends me to deal with it is to not keep my mouth shut.
Okay.
Not keep my mouth shut, and just talk about it. We talk about it a lot. I'll talk about it to anybody now. If I feel, think, or see, you just get a feeling. I've started to write a book, but I can't finish it. I get too emotional. Because abuse has followed me throughout my life. So not just with my daughter's father, but I was also sexually abused as a child, physically abused as a child. So it's like, for the longest time, I was like, well, damn, what's written across my head? Right. And a lot of my friends don't know about that part of it either. So starting to write that book, and Fiona will tell you, because I asked her for her help, it was so emotional, because nobody wants to relive that stuff. Not that you bury it, but my philosophy is I dealt with it, I move on, but I realize it affects my everyday life. We joke, there are things I call trigger words.
Okay.
Men can say certain things to me because both of my offenders were men. Men can say certain things to me, and it just either is going to make me go one way or the other. Either I totally shut down, I don't need to talk to you anymore, or I can flick off. So dealing with it, talking about it. I feel like I have to talk about it.
And to clarify, Carrie, what I wrote about in my book was what my mom went through. Part 2 is going to be what I went through. I was never physically abused, but I was verbally and emotionally abused when I was married. But I never claimed it. It wasn't until I started talking to her, and she was like, you're a survivor. And I was like, but he never hit me.
Right.
And she was like, but he broke your spirit. And sometimes that's so much way worse. My confidence was shattered, my spirit was broken, and by the person that I trusted to protect it.
And it's not just a matter of somebody saying, oh, you look funny in that, or, stuff like that. I mean, there's when we say abuse, I'm talking about the man that you love looking at you and be like, you're fat, you're ugly, nobody's gonna want you. You know I'm the best you're ever gonna get, so just deal with it. And you hear that on a consistent basis, or nobody's gonna want you. You have 3 kids, what can you do for somebody? Or you're old, you're this, you're that. That constant in your ear, he knew what he was doing.
Right.
And so when we talk about emotional and verbal abuse, that's what I'm talking about. I mean,
Making you feel
less than a person.
making you feel unworthy. Nobody else is going to want you. You're lucky that I'm still here. I'm the only person who's ever going to love you in the way that you are. So my biggest thing that I got berated for was I had an attitude. Because in the beginning of our relationship, I had a backbone.
Okay.
And I didn't take much crap. And then when we got married, I was like, okay, things are going to be smoother. It's going to be great. We're just going to live happily ever after. And that's when it started, just little by little breaking me down. We would go to family gatherings, and if his family didn't like the way that I acted, I would get lectured for 3 hours when I got home on how I don't know how to interact with people. My parents messed me up because they didn't socialize me enough around enough different personalities for me to be able to function as an adult.
Wow. So that's control. That's the ultimate
Yes,
control.
the ultimate control.
They say take control of the mind, you take control of the body next.
Yeah.
Huh?
They do, and they like to isolate you. And it doesn't just happen to women, it happens to men too, but they like to isolate you from your family and friends. Most of the people that have known me for a long time, because ironically, I did not meet Fiona until I was coming out of the relationship, they will tell you I shut out everybody from my mom, my dad, my brother, to my closest friends, just because, in my mind, I didn't want him to act up around people. But in reality, he was just telling me they don't care about you, they don't love you, they just don't want us to be together. And that was consistent.
Man, so you say a bunch of realtors and people in the real estate business that's actually going through this or been through this?
Been through it. And it's like, I truly believe that at the point in time when I made that decision to leave, and I tell people, the night that I was at the county commissioner's office begging him to give me this protective order,
Right.
the next morning I was at Coffee Chat, and nobody knew.
Wow.
It took some time, and then one day, one of our colleagues, and can I say her name?
Sure.
Alicia Stooks has an organization called I'm Bruised, Not Broken.
Right.
She's also a domestic violence survivor. It was at that point that during my networking meeting, I just
remember that
teared up, and I shared my story.
Wow.
And there's so many people. Then it was like from there, different women who I've been doing business with would share their story with me. And it was like God was saying, you're not alone. You're not alone. And there's so many young women who, if we talk about it enough,
Right.
prayerfully, they will know they're not alone.
Because we also had a conversation with another colleague, and she told us a story of her daughter who dealt with domestic violence when she was in high school.
Mm-hmm.
And, high school is hard enough.
Right.
But then to be in a controlling relationship and, they think they love this person and they're controlling and abusive. And then as a mom, you're sitting there, my child is 16 years old. How do I not see this? How do I not know? So after I heard her story, I went home and I talked to my daughters. I have a 14 and a 16-year-old. I said, we're going to talk about this so that you understand what it means, so that if you see any of these signs when you're dealing with somebody, then get out, or at least come to me, come to your dad, come to Miss Leanne, come to talk to somebody that you feel comfortable talking to about it, but talk to somebody, because when you're in that situation, you feel absolutely alone, because they've already broken you that nobody cares about you but them. And you feel shame that you're letting this happen to you.
Because just to piggyback on what Fiona says, as parents, as mothers, we focus on, don't let anybody touch you. If somebody touches you in your no-no zone, let mommy or daddy know. But there's other ways that people can be abused, especially young girls. I have 2 sons, 18 and 25, and I've told both of their girlfriends, I'm a woman first.
Right.
So if either one of my boys, and I know they won't because they have fear of their mother, but if either one of my boys get out of hand, you come and you tell me. You tell me, because nobody deserves to be talked to that way. Nobody deserves to be hit. Nobody deserves to be controlled, you know?
So what would you say to somebody that's in a relationship, and listen up, ladies, that's in a relationship right now, and they're afraid to leave, not only because of fear of being beaten, but say, you know what, this is all I have. I don't have no other place to go. I don't have nothing. This is my life.
The words that stick in my head, because, you know, I tried to leave more than once. My mom telling me, remember the pain you feel now, and remember you don't want to feel it again. And so the last time when I decided, look, most people call it choking,
Right.
but it's called strangling. When somebody does that to you, choking is different than strangling. When somebody puts their hands around your neck with the intent to stop your breath, that's called strangling. When that man stuck his hands around my neck and lifted my ass off the toilet, I remembered the pain I felt, I grabbed my stuff, and I left. I would tell those girls, as afraid as you are now is nothing compared to what he will continue to do, because he's gonna break you down. You have to leave. It's hard. There's somebody. I have said on my Facebook, Fiona has said on her Facebook, I don't care who you are, how little I know, you call me. I've got you. I will find a way to make sure you're safe.
We have a network. We have a network, and
A
that's
great network.
We have an awesome network, but it's just it's kind of like the village. We have to be a village for everybody, especially those in those situations, because that is the hardest thing, is leaving the hard. And because when you're in that situation, what's at the forefront of your mind is not the negative. It's like, but I love him.
Right.
But I love him. We've built a life together. We have kids together. I love him. And you hold out hope. You always have that hope that he's going to change. Be like, he said he was sorry. He said he was going to do better. And you trust that. And each time he betrays your trust, because he goes back to being the same person that he was. And it all, like Leanne, it's just support. If you find out somebody is in that situation, just be there for them. Do not tell them to leave, because they're going to be like, well, you don't know what it's like.
Right.
And they get defensive like that, because I'm not coming to you for you to tell me what to do. I know I'm not in a good situation. Sometimes I just need an ear. Just don't turn your back on people. Just listen. That is the biggest thing, is support them. Don't try to dictate their lives. Don't try to tell them what to do. They already have that going on.
Right.
They're already being controlled in one area. They don't need you stepping in and saying, well, this is what you need to do. I'm going to do this, and you need to do that. Be there for them.
And we, as a society, as a community, as mothers, as fathers, as friends, we have to pay attention, because when I tell you there are signs, just like when they tell you to pay attention to signs when you think your child is being abused. If you have a friend who's normally outgoing, smiling, and then all of a sudden things begin to rapidly change, that's a sign. Another sign, which might seem really silly, if you have a girlfriend who's always doing her hair and makeup and wearing, she's fashionable, and she stops, I bet you that man told her to stop.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. Or
Because I was told, why are you wearing that? You can't wear that. Don't do your hair like that. No, don't pull your hair back in a ponytail. You don't need curls. I mean, to that extent.
I was For me, it was my attire, which hasn't changed like ever. And also the color of my hair, because I went through a couple different phases, but I always checked with him first before I cut my hair. I'm like, I'm thinking about cutting my hair. What do you think? It doesn't matter. It's your hair. Okay. Well, I think I'm going to do this shade of red. What do you think? I don't care. It's your hair. So after so many, I don't care, it's your hair, I said, I'm going to dye my hair black.
Hi, Mommy.
I dyed my hair black. He came home and he was like, why does your hair look so dark? I said, because I dyed it. I told you I don't like black on you. Why would you dye your hair black? You know I don't like it.
Wow.
So then I'm feeling like, now I don't even look. I thought I looked cute. You know, my hair was healthy. It was looking good. But then after that, I was like, now I got to figure out a way for my hair not to be black, because he's going to say something every single day that my hair is black.
Wow.
Some people are responding on my live. You can watch this, guys, so you can see everybody. It's called
ListenVisionLive.com.
ListenVisionLive.com. One of my friends here, I've known her since she was born. She said her leave moment was when he pushed me out the car in front of my kids, stomped on my arm in front of them. See, I just got chills. I swear I saw that. That's what I didn't want. And by the grace of God, my children were not home when my last push happened. But that's my fear. Like, when the little boys see their mom getting beat, or the little girls see their mom getting beat or yelled at, then they think it's okay. Then we keep going. Then the boys think it's okay to speak to their girls that way, and the little girls think it's okay to be treated that way. I mean, we're all gonna have arguments and say stupid things out of our mouth, but the abuse is just different. And I know so many of these young girls. I have a lot of young girls that have been in my life since they were little, and I tell them all the time, like, you just tell somebody, but we got to pay attention too.
But it's hard. We've both been there. It is hard. It's so easy to say, you need to tell somebody. Mm-hmm. But when you're going through it, right, you feel lower than dirt as it is.
You're
and
embarrassed.
then to go to someone and be like, hey, this is how weak I am, that this is the situation I'm in. Mm-hmm. So it's just really hard. And the fact of the matter is, what happened to Shania, am I saying her name right? Chandra. She went through it, but she maybe didn't tell a lot of people. And the scariest part is, you can say, okay, I'm going to leave him. And you decide to leave him, and then he convinces you to stay with mm-hmm. him. And next thing you know, he takes your life. Because that is, I guess that's the biggest fear that I had. He wasn't physically abusive to me, but I wasn't living. I was even on medication.
Wow.
Because, like I said, he said my attitude was the thing that was the biggest issue. So I got on antidepressants to mellow myself out.
Can I respond to this?
Sure. What's the question?
She says, hi, Pamela. Getting out is not always easy. I left my abuser in Ohio, and he stalked me all the way here to D.C. It took my cousin and the man I married, now actually hiding me, and the police finally picking him up. What? I get it. I'm not here to say it's easy. Trust and believe. Like I said, I went on for 12 years with this man, and I made every excuse, including it was my fault. I know it's not easy. The scary part is that we try to convince ourselves, like Fiona said, he's going to change, it's going to get better. If I do this, it'll be okay. He'll never change. And a lot of times it's financial. A lot of times it's emotional. Money is the root of all evil, for real, because especially if you have children and this man has been smart enough to control the money and control, your lifestyle, yeah, it's not going to be easy to get out. Oh my goodness, we have to share how many resources there are. But I feel you, Pam. I had another girlfriend who left the state too. She had to hide from her abuser, and that's sad. Hide from a man that you love and you procreated with. I don't know.
That's great. So you say you have a support group? You ladies have a support group?
Well,
Alicia does.
Alicia Stukes has I'm Bruised, Not Broken.
Okay.
And yesterday, in light of the death of our colleague,
Right.
which was her birthday yesterday as well,
That's right.
Alicia put out a challenge to everybody in her network to just try to be there and listen. And I know I accept the challenge. I know Fiona accepts the challenge. I don't care who you are. Call me.
How can they reach you?
They can reach me at 240-412-9328. I do not care what time of night it is. If you need help, you call. And I promise with everything in me, 240-412-9328. I will get you in touch with I'm Bruised, Not Broken, which is Alicia Stukes' nonprofit, and she has the resources to help anyone, man, woman, anyone in this situation, anybody that's in a domestically violent relationship. She has the resources to help you. I will not say your name. You don't have to know me. I would help.
And that's the most important thing that people have to understand. You don't have to personally know somebody in order for them to help you.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes those are the people that can help you the most and you'll feel the safest with because they don't know you. They don't know your history. They're not going to judge you.
Yeah, no judgment. That's what I'm saying. No judgment.
That's the biggest thing. Don't judge anybody who's in this situation.
But that makes me remember something. A lot of women stay too because you're embarrassed. And like I said, when we did the live last week, the hardest phone call for me to make was the phone call to my mother because I was so embarrassed that I let this go on forever. But it's not your fault. It's not your fault.
But you feel like it is.
You do. You absolutely do.
Because he has you believing that you can't do anything right.
Mm-hmm.
So you think that everything is your fault. I thought that I was in that situation because I wasn't a good person and that I was getting what I deserved. I felt like I couldn't do anything right. You know, I had an attitude, which I don't believe is an attitude. It's just being strong.
Love you, Stevie.
And I couldn't do anything right. I couldn't clean well enough. I couldn't take care of things. I didn't have any more friends. He isolated me from my friends. The only time I would see my family is if I had my girls with me. And it even got to the point I love hanging out with my sister. And if I would go up there, if I had gone up there without my girls, he was calling me like, when are you coming home? And it got like every 30 minutes. And my sister's like, go, because he's getting on my nerves. Wow. And then when I would take the girls, he would call me and say, why you got my kids out all hours of the night? It was 9 o'clock. They're with me and my sister. They were going to get a bath and be put to bed when we got home. But that was how it was. And it got to the point my sister was like, don't bother.
Do you know if this guy's in another relationship?
In a new relationship? Mm-hmm.
You asking me or you asking her?
Yeah, both. Because, you just think it's like he's just not going to change.
Okay, so here's the thing. And I said this last week. If you know the father of my child and you run and tell, I don't care. To this day, he will not admit what he did, but the court papers say other. Yes, he's in a relationship. I have to deal with him, at least until our child is grown, but far beyond that, I know how to deal with him.
I hope that ain't him knocking on the door.
Hope that ain't him knocking on the door, though. No,
Who's
it's
that
not even
knocking
like
on
that
my
anymore.
window?
I know how to deal with him, and I promise you that I say prayer for whatever woman does come into his life next. I feel at some point he was a good man because there's no way I would have fallen in love with a demon. There's no way that I would have had a child with somebody so horrible. Something happened in his life to make him think this was okay. Right. So I feel bad. I pray whomever's with him after me, yes, it's not something that will stop if you do not get help. The abusers need help too.
And that's the reason I ask, because I'm like, these guys have moved on, but, you ladies been with these guys, you know their history. Like you may want to reach out to the person that is with now, like, hey, you need help, because you say the signs.
The signs are there. I concern myself more with, I know he would never hurt our daughter. And I think that was my biggest confusion. I'm like, I'm the mother. First of all, I'm the mother of his only child.
Wow.
And we have a daughter. And you can't even look at our daughter cockeyed without him breathe her way the wrong way and this man goes bananas. But at the same time, you disrespect and hurt the mother of your only child. I don't fear that he would ever hurt our daughter. And again, all I can do is pray for that girl that's with him, because how would it look, me coming to her? Lord knows what he's told her.
Right.
I'm crazy, I'm all this,
Yes,
but
we are the crazy ones.
the thing is, all I can say is, God forbid something like that happened to her, that it would be laid on her heart to reach out to me. And even her, I'd take care of her.
Right.
I would do whatever I had to do. I love y'all more than you can imagine. Thank you, Mommy.
Wow. So I was getting ready. I had a question. I forgot what the question was. Quick.
What? We stumped Carrie.
we got Carrie's
I was thinking my
papers.
mind is like, oh.
got-
But ladies, I'm telling you, it's a billion people plus in this world. So just if somebody say there's nobody in this world that's gonna love you, that's ridiculous. How can they speak for a billion people? Are you kidding me? It's a billion people. Don't let no one person control you. Not one person. Are you kidding? I mean, it takes a nation, nation of millions, not one person. So don't think that you're never going to find the right person. You got a billion choices. You got a billion choices. So it's people out here like big women, fat women, tall women, women with kids, women without kids. I mean, your choices are unlimited. All you're going to have to do is change your environment, change your mind, and change your life. So
Abuse is not love. Sheila, amen. Abuse is not love. But when you're in that mindset and you love this man,
That's what you think.
That's
it
what you
is.
think love
because he
is.
has you believing that he is like the bee's knees. He is the one for you. Nobody else. And you say there are a billion people. There are, but they break you down to the point that they feel
all you
that
see is them. Right?
all you see is them, because you're like, no, but I can do better. But I can do better. I won't upset you next time. I'll do better. And to be quite honest, it's a lot of insecurity within them, and they take it out on you.
Right.
Because
That's
it's
what I
like, no matter if I got bitched out for laughing and joking with his family because they said she ain't been family long enough to tell those jokes.
okay,
So
that's funny.
I got a lecture on that. So the next week I go over there and I keep to myself. Oh, now she too good? Now she too good to talk to us? So then I get lectured on being antisocial. And there is no me. He could sit here and say, you need to not step in, or you need to, not joke around. Okay, I don't joke around. But you need to interact.
Wow.
And if all y'all doing is sitting around joning on people, how do you interact without joning on somebody?
It's a never ending, like we could probably sit here and talk for 50 days about examples, but at the end of the day, I believe, as hard as it is, in your heart it's not right. And if a person gets you to the point where you have to question whether or not you love yourself, if you have to question whether or not your parents love you, if you have to question anything about yourself, you might be being controlled. And that controlling part, Fiona said something else before. I've said, and I probably can't say bad words on the radio.
Hey, you can say
Okay.
bad words on this radio.
Really? Because we've been keeping it clean.
Shit.
I've been
keeping
saying
it clean.
we've been watching our words. I'm sitting here like, what word am I
I
going to use?
said I would have rather that man beat my ass every day than to have to relive and replay some of the most horrible things that he said to me. And they do still go through my mind.
Wow.
Some days I question my own value as a human, but then I remember I'm a goddess. Then I remember who I am.
Yeah.
And
And it affects
It does- it
affects
affects you.
relationships after that, because you have the triggers. Like Leanne said, you have the triggers. My trigger is when we're having a discussion and I'm talking don't interrupt me. And I had a friend who
Like
did
this?
that. Didn't I tell you? We know each other's triggers.
Right. Right.
And
Mm-hmm.
and I had a friend who we were having like a semi-heated discussion, and he interrupted me. And because I have a light voice, you can easily talk over me. And I said, I was talking. He said, oh, but I want to make my point. You can say what you have to say after. Snapped. I literally snapped. This person didn't speak to me for a year and a half, and I had known him for 20 years.
Wow.
Sheila said, love, why are you on my street? You are talking about my life. Because, Sheila, because that's why I say there's so many of us that have or are experiencing it. But however, we always feel like we're by ourselves. We're not alone. We are not alone. We could probably write a whole encyclopedia.
Lori says she has a niece that was in an abusive relationship, and she's trying to get her mind and confidence up. So how do you get your mind and confidence up after going through something like that?
Ooh, that's a good one. How do you get your mind and confidence up? I can only speak for myself.
Okay.
And like I said, I've only been out just under 3 years of a relationship that went on for 12 years. So if something took 12 years to destroy me, it's going to take time
It's going to take a minute.
to rebuild me. But it has to start with self-love. Affirmations are really good, and I thought it was really silly, but when I post on my mirror when I'm getting ready, you are beautiful. People do love you, and look in the mirror and say, I love you. Who's looking back at you? I love you, because the not even the acceptance of other people around you is going to help you. You have to love you. Affirmations. That's what I would say first.
Well, I don't know, because I was broken before I got into my marriage.
Oh, wow.
Because I didn't look a certain way growing up. And it was...
That's a topic for tonight.
Yes. But I didn't look a certain way. And so I was berated about my looks on a constant basis from those closest to me.
Wow.
And so I was a little insecure going into it. And then it's like he picked right up and was like, we're going to just keep on. Let me go ahead and break you all the way down. I've been out of that situation for 9 years. And she will attest to it. I'm literally just coming into it, just coming into the healing and the understanding, because I didn't have just my 13 years with him. I had 25 years prior.
Dang.
And it's going to be a good topic. You got to watch it, because I do believe in some way, shape, or form, our upbringing will, I don't want to say determine, but it kind of helps what happens in your future, no matter how hard you try. If you're abused as a child and you don't deal with the abuse as a child, it's more likely that you will repeat the cycle. I mean, my abuse as a child affected my marriage.
Okay.
A lot of people don't know that, but it did affect my marriage. Thank God I had a really good husband. Now, my ex-husband and my daughter's father are two different people. And I have to make sure that's clear. But it affected our intimacy to the point that if he touched me certain times, I would freak out. Not a lot of men can handle that. Wow. He did. He handled it like a trooper, but not a lot of men can handle that. And you bring that into your adulthood. Trust, I have a very hard time trusting men. Now, in my mind, I will say I trust them, but I'm always holding them like this, just waiting for you to do something. Just waiting.
Yeah, I hear about it.
She hears about it.
All the time. It's like...
My baby boy says he loves his mommy, and I love him.
It's like we'll sit here and talk about if she is interested in a guy. And I'm like, he's a good dude. And she was like, no, he said this.
Something's got to be wrong with
And
him.
I'm like, Leanne, honey, no, we're not going out anymore. No, he can lose my number. I've already blocked his.
Wow.
Story for another day.
So we got to do another show.
Story for
Probably
another
on
day.
dating. Wow, because you definitely got to come back and talk about some of these dating relationships.
I'm one of those overly trusting people. I trust people in my life to treat me the way that I would treat them.
Okay.
And when people don't, that's when I get hurt, because I'm like, well, because I don't see it coming.
Right.
Because I'm like, I would never do that to you. How could people be born this way? How could this be your mentality? So I put a lot of trust in those that I care about, because I'm like, I wouldn't shit on you. Why are you shitting on me?
Right.
It's a learning process. You learn.
Well, in this business that we in, you're going to go through that a lot.
Woo, you gotta have thick. Now I have thick skin when it comes to real estate. Believe that. In my personal life and my business life, I'm the beast in
There's some
business.
jokers out here, man. You going to be like, really? You be like, really? You're like, they going to act like nothing ever happened.
Two different.
Well,
things.
that's how they do it in your personal
Gonna
life
have
too.
so many knives in your back. You be like, damn. Like, they like, hey, buddy. I'm like, oh, reap
Right.
yourself. You stuck that knife in my back.
Yeah, that's personal life too.
Cool. That's crazy. That's crazy. So, hey, I appreciate you, ladies. But how can they talk about your book again? Talk about how they can get in contact with you guys, and we're going to close this show.
Okay, my book is called Out of Her Darkness.
Out of Her Darkness.
You can find it at soothingsoulflow.com. I also blog, and that's where we pull some of our material from.
Okay.
And that blog is grownwomanflow.com. And if there's anybody out there who is in a situation where you don't know how to get out of it, like Leanne, I'll give you my number, 571-245-6688. If I don't care if it's 2-3 o'clock in the morning and you need somebody to be there, I got you, because all I'm gonna do is pick the phone up and call this one too. We there.
We're there.
We're there.
We're dressing in black and we're going on a mission.
We're putting on our mission gear.
Yes.
And we'll be there.
But you can get in touch with me. Again, I'm Leanne Rodriguez with Pride Settlement and Escrow. 240-412-9328. If you need anything, you call. And that number was not given out for the creeps.
It really is not, because you start.
Disclaimer.
This is not a dating service.
The last thing, watch us on Mommy Duties. We do a live show almost every night, Mommy Duties. Watch that. It's based on her vlogs.
Where they watch that Facebook, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Carrie,
Mama
thank
Duty,
you.
so you're welcome. Guys,
Thank
we
you,
got to run.
Carrie.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you. We appreciate you coming on. That's something that had to be brought up. Domestic violence, like I said, it hit home for us like this week. Actually, they've been going through it for their whole lives. But if you know somebody who's going through that and need help, be a listening ear. Get them the help they need. Peace and love, guys. You get a peace, love, and don't forget to join us at our open house. We may be giving away some gifts. You won't know till you come see us. Peace and love.